The galactic military exchange program had seemed like a joke to most of the alien cadets. Humans, with their fragile bodies and short lifespans, were considered novelties at best. When Eden walked into the elite sniper training facility on Karasep, the chittering and hissing began immediately. "Look at how slowly she breathes, Katha." A Vexian warrior clicked his mandibles in amusement. "Is she sleeping, standing up?" The others joined in. Eden's breathing patterns, low, measured, almost meditative, seemed absurd compared to the rapid, efficient respiratory cycles of the other species. The Varaxians cycled air through their systems 4 times per second. The crystalline Zephyri didn't breathe at all, absorbing energy directly from stellar radiation. Even the hulking Kragath managed 3 breaths for every one of Eden's. She said nothing. Her dark eyes remained fixed on the distant target range, where thermal signatures flickered across a landscape designed to challenge the galaxy's finest marksmen. Beside her, Emmanuel adjusted his own rifle, his breathing pattern matching hers, deliberately slow, deliberately controlled. Instructor Velkar, a decorated Vraxian sniper with 7 campaigns under her chitinous plates, observed the human female with thinly veiled skepticism. "Cadet Eden," she buzzed, "you will take position 3. Wind variance is 11% above standard. Adjust accordingly." The target sat 3,000 meters downrange, a standard distance for intermediate shooters. Most species compensated for wind with advanced calculation, implants, and predictive algorithms wired directly into their neural matrices. The technology was standard issue exhibit. Humans had proven biochemically incompatible with most military-grade AUGMENTATIONS. Eden moved to her position with unhurried precision. She settled into the prone position, her body forming a stable platform. Her breathing continued its strange, languid rhythm. In, hold, out, hold. 6 seconds per cycle. "She'll be here all day at that rate," Katha muttered to his pod-mate. Emmanuel, positioned 2 stations down, spoke quietly without looking up. "You might want to watch instead of talk." The Varaxian's mandibles clicked in annoyance, but he fell silent. Eden's eyes never left the scope. The other cadets had already fired, compensating for wind with real-time data feeds and algorithmic projections. Most had scored adequately. Katha had scored well, but Eden remained motionless, breathing. "Cadet, your time window is closing," Velkara announced, impatience creeping into her voice. Then Eden moved. Her finger found the trigger. The report cracked across the range. Downrange. The target's center mass erupted in a flash of reactive gel. "Perfect hit." The range fell silent. "Luck," Katha declared. "Atmospheric conditions must have next target," Velkara interrupted. "Mobile platform, 1,200 meters, crosswind from northwest, variable gusts." A hovering drone materialized, weaving an unpredictable pattern across the training ground. The other cadets would need multiple shots, their implants calculating probability cones and optimal firing windows. Eden's breathing slowed further. If possible, she seemed to enter an even deeper state of calm. Her chest rose and fell like ocean tides. 5 seconds, 6, 7. Emmanuel watched the wind indicators dancing on his heads-up display, then glanced at Eden. She was reading something the instruments couldn't show. Her shot rang out. The drone spiraled downward, its core compromised. "Explain," Velkara demanded, moving to Eden's position. The instructor's tone had shifted from skepticism to sharp interest. Eden's voice was steady. "The breathing isn't slow, instructor. It's synchronized." "Synchronized to what?" "To everything." Eden gestured toward the range. "Wind doesn't move in straight lines. It pulses, eddies, creates harmonics. The human respiratory system, when controlled properly, can detect pressure variations down to fractions of a pascal. Our inner ear registers angular momentum. Our skin reads thermal gradients." Velkara's compound eyes refracted the harsh training facility lights. "Your species uses biological sensors. We use everything," Emmanuel added, rising from his own position. "Humans evolved as persistence hunters on a world with wildly variable atmospheric conditions. We learned to read the wind before we invented the wheel. Before we had language, we had breath." Eden continued. "Every species here uses technology to compensate for environmental factors. We use technology too, but we also use 4 million years of evolutionary adaptation. When I slow my breathing, I'm not resting, I'm listening, feeling. The air pressure on my cheek tells me wind direction. The temperature differential between inhalation and exhalation maps thermal layers. My heartbeat becomes a chronometer. My breath becomes a barometer." She looked directly at Katha. "You thought I was sleeping. I was calculating wind patterns across 3,000 meters of turbulent atmosphere using instruments that came standard with my body. Velcora stood motionless for a long moment, then her mandibles spread in what might have been respect. Demonstrate again. Target at maximum range. 4,000 meters. Extreme crosswise. And Eden returned to position. The mocking had ceased entirely now. Every cadet watched as she settled. As her breathing slowed to that strange, deliberate rhythm, the wind howled across the range, kicking up dust devils and thermal distortions. The target was barely visible even with enhanced optics. The Varaxian cadets consulted their tactical computers. The Zephyri hummed with electromagnetic calculations. Eden simply breathed. In. The wind carries moisture from the eastern ridge. Hold. Thermal layer at 2,000 meters. Rising. Out. Pressure drop indicates vortex formation. Hold. Heartbeat steady. 72 beats per minute. Time between beats, 0.833 seconds. She fired. 4 seconds later, the distant target exploded. Velcora's voice carried a new tone, one the human cadets would later recognize as awe. She's not just calculating wind, the instructor said to no one in particular. She's becoming the wind. Emmanuel smiled slightly, checking his own weapon. That's humanity for you, instructor. We don't conquer our environment with technology alone. We become part of it. We adapt. We listen. We breathe. The Vraxian instructor turned to address the entire class. Recalibrate your assumptions, cadets. These humans have shown us that sometimes the most sophisticated instrument is the one evolution spent millions of years perfecting. Eden rose from her position, her breathing returning to a normal rhythm. She caught Cather SI and nodded, not in triumph, but in acknowledgement. The galaxy had underestimated humanity's slow breathing. They wouldn't make that mistake again.